Fine.
Hi, my name's Karen Burke and I'm here today with Bob Cooke
You are?
At the Manchester Institute of Psychotherapy, where Bob is, well, the founder and also clinical director. I work here as a psychotherapist, trainer and supervisor, as you do, Bob.
I do, that's true.
Yes, however, you work many more hours here than I do. Yes.
I've got a bed somewhere.
So, I'm here today to talk to Bob and to ask Bob a few questions. And obviously, I mean, you've been in this profession for many, many years. 30 years or coming up 30 years?
1984.
So, it'll be an anniversary next year for you then.
Yeah, God, bloody nearly 30 years.
30 years, yeah. So, the topic of this short video is on who is attracted to become a psychotherapist.
Yeah,
so all the years, the making of a psychotherapist.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, getting a bit of flour and sugar and eggs, making a psychotherapist. How long do you have to bake them in the oven for? However, more seriously, you've run training and seen many successful psychotherapists, and so.
Well, what's really interesting, I think it's really interesting, is when I ask to most therapists that I know, why did you become a psychotherapist? I mean, in some ways, it's an odd profession, isn't it?
I think it's a very odd profession. No, I agree with you. Seriously.
You spend most of your time locked in a room.
Well, I will say, Bob, not to frighten anyone, no one's locked in my room.
No, but for 50 minutes or 55 minutes with somebody, listening to people's distress.
Yes.
And hopefully through the time with the person, you help the person heal in many ways. So that's the really satisfactory part of that. But it's how come somebody would be attracted to that question? Now, when I asked that, and I've asked that question for 30 years.
Yes.
More often than not, people have said, well, I was attracted through my own therapy.
Yes.
In other words, they go to their own therapy because they have a level of discomfort, or there's some trauma or some childhood injuries, and through their own healing they want to give something back maybe, or they feel I can do this job, or they can be useful, it's worthwhile. But usually the answer I get back is, through my own psychotherapy, and then decided that I'd like to be in this profession and do it myself. That seems to be one of the most common answers to that, responses back. Very rarely do I hear, well, I looked through the net, looked through the books, I searched the net, I decided on what modality I'd like to train. I looked at the theory of Gestalt, transaction analysis, CBT, psychodynamic, existential psychotherapy, and then I decided that really that's the type I want to be, and I'm doing this because I know I get £30,000 a year, and I decided I had a good pension and it's got some holidays, and I'm so...
They've been significantly misled, haven't they?
But I never hear anybody say it.
No.
I've very rarely heard that. If I ever have, it's usually that they went to psychotherapy themselves and they were attracted to the profession through their own healing. And I thought I'd like to just talk to you about that. And first of all, is that your own experience?
I had experience of being in therapy prior to my training. However, what I would say is that unfortunately we were not a good fit, shall I say, myself and my therapist. And it was just a short piece of work, it's a specific piece of work. However, so that wasn't what interested me regarding the profession.
How interesting.
So maybe, as always, but maybe I'm,
Exception.
Maybe it's different.
So what attracted you to this profession then?
Curiosity.
Ah.
Curiosity about people, wanting to understand people, the big thing is curiosity, and also liking people.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, I like to work with people. So, also, the academic part of it, again, interested me
Oh.
at the time as well.
Really? Oh, it's the last thing I think.
Yes, yeah, so we all come in for different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I certainly agree with your curiosity. Now,
Mm.
I had somebody came round about 4 or 5 years ago, and he was doing a PhD, and it was about the top 5 or 6 qualities that I thought made up a competent psychotherapist. And he'd been asked to talk to some of them. And this is pretty narcissistic, but it's true. Great psychotherapists around here. So I gave him. We talked for about 2 hours, and curiosity was in my top 5.
Yes, yes. I think that was a great driver for me. Yes, I don't think I can. And yourself, I'm interested, Bob, as far as.
Oh, well, I said, well, it's the same response, but I came to psychotherapy because I had quite a bit of psychotherapy on myself, more than just once. And unlike you, I really
You had a good experience.
had a good experience, and also 30 years later, I've recently got back to the same therapist
Yes.
to do some work. So I have a lot of therapy in between with different therapists.
Yes.
So yeah, unlike you, and this person was a TA therapist.
Yes. Yeah.
So there was a good model. I thought there was good at that time, and my therapist encouraged me. And there's things in my own history in terms of lack of recognition, lack of strokes, lack of different things, which appealed to me in terms of getting that. This is unconsciously in some ways,
course.
getting that from people in training and in the same common purpose. Most of all, I thought I could do the job, and I think a bit like you in a way. Curiosity was very high on what made people tick.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
How come we become the way we become?
Yes.
Which led me to this video really, and what attracts people to be psychotherapists. Sometimes I hear people say, "Well, I was a social worker, or I was, probation worker, and therefore it was a natural progression."
Yes.
More often, it's more about areas like we're talking about now, which takes people that way.
Yes.
Nowadays, of course, where psychotherapy is more popular, there's more of a career structure, there's more regulation, there's more accountability. I think then people perhaps do more research on the different modalities around. For example, there's over 650 different types of psychotherapy in 2013.
Yes.
When I came along as I say, in '84, I'm sure there was 650 types of different psychotherapies. So I think people do more of a detailed study, but quite often people, if they go on to psychotherapy training, often train in the modality of the therapist they had therapizing them in the first place.
Right. Well, that's interesting. Just from the point of view that right here and now, I have 2 clients who, of course, will remain anonymous. However, both have voiced an interest in training as a psychotherapist, and I've asked them to look at various models of psychotherapy,
especially transaction analysis, and especially the trainers like Bob Cooke.
Absolutely. And of course they are used to my way of working as a Gestalt psychotherapist, and it would be a greater compliment should they choose to.
Gestalt psychotherapy.
Absolutely. However, I'm really aware that I would like to facilitate a free choice as far as that's concerned. So, in both cases, I have offered them books that I have, on how to, what the training, but also, I suppose, I have seen people blindly go into training and not even understand what TA therapy is, or
Gestalt
understand
therapy.
what
Yeah.
Gestalt is, understand what person-centred counselling is, for example.
So why do you think they go then?
Because they don't realise the options that are available to them.
Quite often.
What they'll do is they'll look for a training facility close at hand, and they won't understand that there are 650 plus. I would have actually said more than that. I'd have put it at 950. So
that's Wendy Dryden in his latest book on psychotherapists.
Yes. So there are going to be the more popular types of psychotherapy and models of psychotherapy. However, I'm wondering, as a psychotherapist, you will have had clients who have chosen
many,
and so is that. Do you find that a very positive stroke to you and the work that you've done with them?
I do, and I mean it's an interesting dimension here. See, I think another reason why people go in to be psychotherapists, if you like, is their own unmet needs in terms of healing.
Yes, the Chiron factor.
Yeah, and also, and also they know that to be a therapist they have to have their own psychotherapy.
Yes.
And so I don't know if it's as thought out as this.
No.
But it means they can continue their therapy.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying, I don't know, the trainees that come tomorrow, no, Saturday.
Yeah.
I've got 16 new trainees into the first year of my TA training. I don't know if you sat down with them and said, have you come into TA training because it means you can continue your psychotherapy? They would actually say, yes, I thought about that. But I wonder if the drive unconsciously is, that attraction to have access to therapy and to be with people who also may have the similar type of unmet needs or healing, or whichever way you want to look at this, is an attraction.
Yes, and I would suggest that it's rarely that it's going to be within their awareness.
No.
However, of course, the training, their own personal therapy, the group that they're training with are all very much a growth as far as their own personal awareness is concerned.
True.
And I have seen trainees who haven't actually realised that they've had to, as a parallel obligation, they haven't really thought about that. For those that have never ever had counselling or psychotherapy, and yet it's such a driver for them, and it's such an integral part of the training.
That's absolutely right, and it's very interesting because I would say on average to become a TA therapist was going to cost you in the region of £12,000 because you've got to have
spread over 4 years.
Oh, spread over 4 or 5 years. I know. So I would say counting.
Not so we don't frighten people.
No. Yearly £2,000 split into instalments so they can afford to say £190 a month for the therapy and the supervision and the training. So yes, you're quite right. Split into instalments and affordable figures.
Yes.
So it is a retraining, and maybe more and more today with the popularity, as I said, there is that reason of retraining as an actual career.